Really kind of funny, but also really insightful.
Yeah.
We're talking about Naomi's transition journey,
Okay.
as she chronicles it on her podcast, From Bro to Babe, the hilarious transformation chronicles.
What strikes me is how she uses humor to deal with such a huge life change. It's
Yeah.
not just like the physical transformation, but also like all the emotional and social stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah, and she really gets into the details.
Oh, yeah.
Like post-surgery recovery, the whole protein shake thing, and even some unexpected spinach drama.
Even if you haven't personally gone through a gender transition, I think her honesty about like the ups and downs really connects with anyone who's had a major life change.
So to kick things off, let's talk about why Naomi decided to transition in the first place.
Okay.
She talks about this need for authentic self-expression. And then there's this quote that really stuck with me. She said, "This dude face isn't giving what it's supposed to give."
Wow.
Like, talk about knowing yourself.
Right. That line really shows her self-awareness and her desire to have her outside match her inside, you know?
Yeah,
It's a powerful statement about taking control of your own story.
for sure. And she doesn't try to make the recovery process sound easy either.
No.
She compares waking up after surgery to feeling like a butterfly that hasn't quite, like, unfolded yet, all stuck in those compression garments. Even sneezing becomes a full-body workout.
It's amazing how she uses humor to deal with discomfort and even pain.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even when things are tough, we can still find moments of lightness.
Now, her surgeon really stressed how important nutrition is for healing faster.
Okay.
And suddenly protein shakes are her best friend, and all her friends start calling her Gym Bro Barbie.
It's great that she's so dedicated to recovery, but it's important for listeners to remember that everyone's different, and what works for one person might not work for another. Talking to healthcare professionals for personalized advice is crucial.
That's a really good point. It's easy to get caught up in someone else's journey and forget that we all have our own paths.
Exactly. And speaking of paths, hormones play a big role in Naomi's experience and lead to some really funny moments.
Yeah.
One minute she's crying over a bird, the next she's cracking up at memes.
It's like her emotions are on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So what's the science behind these hormonal changes?
Well, hormone therapy during transition involves introducing hormones that weren't really there before. And this can affect the brain's neurotransmitters, which then influence mood and emotional responses.
That makes sense. It's not just physical changes. It's like a total reset of the internal system.
Right.
And speaking of resets, there's this whole spinach incident.
Oh, the spinach.
Yeah.
A classic tale of good intentions gone wrong.
Let's just say she learned the hard way that even healthy foods can have unexpected consequences when you're going through major hormonal changes.
It really shows how important it is to listen to your body and adjust your diet based on your individual needs, especially during big transitions.
Yeah, it's a reminder that what works for one person might not work for another, and paying attention to your body's signals is key.
Now, Naomi talks about this funny contrast. She's got a snatched upper body and a feminine face, but her legs are still giving linebacker energy.
The leg drama, as she calls it.
Yeah.
I totally get that feeling of some parts of your body catching up faster than others.
It reminds us that self-acceptance is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
It's about learning to appreciate all parts of ourselves, even the parts that don't fit typical beauty standards.
And it's a process that can be full of humor.
Absolutely.
She tells this story about buying dresses and feeling amazing, but then her legs show up looking ready for a rugby game, not a fashion show.
It's such a great image. It shows her ability to find humor in situations that might make others feel self-conscious.
Then at a party, someone compliments her calves, thinking she's a cyclist.
Oh, wow.
And she says, "I've got the legs of a Greek god and the heart of a goddess."
I love that. She's taking ownership of her body and turning it into something that empowers her.
That whole thing really highlights her ability to laugh at herself and not take things too seriously.
Yeah.
But there's another story where things get a little more complicated.
Oh, okay.
She goes into a store feeling confident in her new dress.
Right. I remember this one. This is where she overhears a comment that challenges her newfound confidence.
Exactly. This guy whispers, "Dude's got great hair," completely misgendering her.
Ugh.
It really makes you think about the assumptions people make based on looks and how hurtful those assumptions can be.
It's a harsh reminder of the biases that trans people often face. It highlights how important it is to educate ourselves about gender identity and to challenge our own preconceived notions.
It's not just about pronouns, it's about recognizing and respecting someone's lived experience.
Exactly.
And in part 2, we'll dig deeper into how Naomi deals with these societal challenges
Yeah.
and how her journey of self-discovery continues.
Okay.
You know, that dude with great hair comment really made me think. It shows how someone can just dismiss another person's whole journey based on one quick look.
Yeah. It definitely highlights the gap between personal transformation and how society sees it.
Right.
It underscores the need for more understanding and empathy, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's not just about how you look on the outside. It's about acknowledging the internal changes and how much courage it takes to live authentically. And Naomi talks about those internal shifts, the mental and emotional changes that came with her physical transformation. It wasn't just about a new look. It was about feeling a deeper connection with herself.
It's interesting how she describes feeling like her inner world was finally matching her outer appearance. She even talks about finding new sides of her personality traits she didn't realize she had before.
That makes me think about how we define ourselves by the roles we play or the labels we're given. What happens when those external identifiers change? Does our sense of self change too?
That's a great question. It suggests that self-discovery isn't a straight line. It's always evolving, and it's affected by things both inside and outside of us. Naomi's experience seems to support that idea, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. And with that newfound alignment, she experiences a surge of freedom and confidence. But she also admits that it's not always easy. There are times when old insecurities come back.
Right. She mentions catching herself, comparing her legs to other women's legs. It shows how strong societal beauty standards are, even when we're trying to embrace our individuality. It reminds us that self-love is an ongoing journey, not a destination.
It makes you wonder, how do we balance those ingrained societal expectations with the desire for self-acceptance? How do we learn to love ourselves unconditionally when the world often tells us we need to change?
That's where finding a supportive community becomes so important. Naomi emphasizes how crucial it was to have people in her life who got it and cheered her on.
Yeah.
Her friends, family, even online groups where she connected with people who had similar experiences, they gave her a sense of belonging and validation.
That makes sense. When you're navigating uncharted territory, having that support system can be everything. It can give you strength and encouragement when doubts start creeping in. It's like having a compass to guide you through those uncertain times.
Exactly. And that feeling of belonging can be so empowering, especially for people who feel marginalized or misunderstood. It reminds us that we don't have to face life's challenges alone. There are people out there who can offer guidance, empathy, and a shared understanding of what it means to be your true self.
It seems like finding your tribe is a crucial part of this journey. It's a space to celebrate who you are, to lean on others when you need to, and to learn from those who are on a similar path.
Absolutely. And in part 3, we'll dive into the lighter side of Naomi's journey, the dating adventures, the fashion mishaps, and the unexpected joys of being Gym Bro Barbie.
All right, we're back for the last part of our deep dive into Naomi's story. And you know what really stood out to me in this last part of her podcast?
What's that?
Is how she embraces the fun side of her journey, the dating, the fashion, all those moments that make you laugh.
It is refreshing how she finds humor in those awkward situations. You know, those times when you're figuring things out and could easily feel embarrassed.
Totally. Like, remember that story we talked about with the guy in the store thinking she was a dude with great hair?
Yeah.
Instead of letting it ruin her day, she owned it.
Mm-hmm.
She even complimented her fabulous curls.
That's a big takeaway right there. Wouldn't you say not taking yourself too seriously, finding a way to laugh at the stumbles along the way? It's a powerful way to be resilient.
It really is.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, do you think that being able to laugh at yourself is something you can learn, or is it more of a personality thing?
I think it's a little of both. Some people are naturally more inclined towards self-deprecating humor, but I do think that learning to see the humor in life's ups and downs is a skill you can develop.
Okay.
It's about changing your perspective, focusing on the funny side of things instead of getting stuck in negativity.
So it's like choosing to find the funny even when things are tough.
Yeah.
And Naomi definitely doesn't shy away from those less than perfect moments.
No, she doesn't.
She talks about compression sock mishaps, struggling to find clothes that fit her changing body, and the hilarious realization that heels and linebacker legs don't always go together.
Right. But through it all, she keeps this sense of optimism, this determination to find the joy in the process.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
Yeah.
That ability to laugh at yourself, to accept the imperfections, and just keep moving forward with a sense of humor.
It is. It reminds us that self-acceptance isn't about reaching some impossible ideal of perfection. It's about embracing who you are, flaws and all, and finding a way to make those flaws work for you.
Now, one thing that really hit home for me was Naomi's focus on self-care. She talks about the importance of nutrients, hormones, rest, the whole package. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it points to a holistic approach to well-being. It's realizing that our physical, emotional, and mental health are all connected. It's about finding balance and making time for the things that nourish you on every level.
So it's not just about a strict diet or exercise routine. It's about listening to your body, figuring out what makes you feel good, and giving yourself permission to rest and recharge.
Exactly. And sometimes that means enjoying things you like, whether it's a good meal, a night out with friends, or a good laugh. It's about finding those little joys that lift your spirits.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Naomi's story, what's the one key takeaway you'd want our listeners to remember?
I think Naomi's journey shows us how important self-acceptance, resilience, and humor are when facing challenges. It reminds us that our differences are what make us unique and special, and that embracing those differences can lead to a richer, more fulfilling life.
Well said. So to everyone listening, remember, this life is too short to take yourself too seriously. Embrace your imperfections, find your people, and don't forget to laugh along the way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.